Where are they? Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jasodhanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jasodhanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tera Vanachari Jamuna Tera Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jasodhanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jasodhanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tera Vanachari Jamuna Tera Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhav Jaya Radha Madhav Radha Madhav Jaya Radha Madhav Jaya Gaura Nitai Jaya Gaura Nitai Gaura Nitai Jaya Gaura Nitai Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo 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 जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य सत्र सत श्रीमद अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की ISKCON Beauty Founder Acharya Divine Grace Prabhupada की जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य सत्र सत श्रीमद भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी ठाकुर श्री प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की नमाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री द्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की ब्रज में वृंदावन धाम की नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम के गंगा माई जमुना माई की समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की निताय गौर प्रेमानंद all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories to Guru and Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स पदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरं श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं कृष्ण चैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादं सहगना ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो महावदनाय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरतिष्ये नमः हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये नीलाचल निवासाय नित्याय परमात्मने बलभद्र सुभद्राभ्यां जगन्नाथाय ते नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद Jai Daita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So continuing our discussion from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 13. Chapter is entitled The Lord's Dancing at Rath Yatra. We will be starting today from text number 119. এই মতো গৌর শ্যামে দোহে ঠেলা ঠেলি সরথে শ্যামেরে রাখে গৌর মহাবলী এই মতো গৌর শ্যামে দোহে ঠেলা ঠেলি সরথে শ্যামেরে রাখে গৌর মহাবলী এই মতো গৌর শ্যামে দোহে ঠেলা ঠেলি সরথে শ্যামেরে রাখে গৌর মহাবলী এই মতো in this way গৌর শ্যামে Lord Jagannath and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Jagannath and Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Dohe between both of them. Thela theli competition of pushing forward. Sarathe in his own car. Samere Lord Jagannath. Rakhe keeps. Gaura Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mahabali greatly powerful. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. Thus, there was a sort of competition between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Jagannath in seeing who could lead. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so strong that he made Lord Jagannath wait in his car. Purport. In his Anubhashya, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur describes the ecstasy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as follows. After giving up the company of the gopis in Vrindavan, Sri Krishna, the son of Maharaj Nanda, engaged in his pastimes at Dwarka. When Krishna went to Kurukshetra with his brother and sister and others from Dwarka, he again met the inhabitants of Vrindavan. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Radha Bhavaduti Subalita, that is, Krishna himself assuming the part of Srimati Radharani in order to understand Krishna. Lord Jagannath Dev is Krishna and Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Srimati Radharani. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is leading Lord Jagannath toward the Gundicha temple, correspond to Srimati Radharani is leading Krishna toward Vrindavan. Sri Krishna and Sri Kshetra Jagannath Puri was taken as the kingdom of Dwarka, the place where Krishna enjoys supreme opulence. But he was being led by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Vrindavan, the simple village where all the inhabitants are filled with ecstatic love for Krishna. Sri Kshetra is a place of Aishwarya Lila, just as Vrindavan is a place of Madhurya Lila. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's following at the rear of Ratha indicated that Lord Jagannath, Krishna, was forgetting the inhabitants of Vrindavan. Although Krishna neglected the inhabitants of Vrindavan, he could not forget them. Thus, in his opulent Ratha Yatra, he was returning to Vrindavan. In the role of Srimati Radharani, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was examining whether the Lord still remembered the inhabitants of Vrindavan. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu fell behind the Rath car, Jagannath Dev, Krishna himself, understood the mind of Srimati Radharani. Therefore, Jagannath sometimes fell behind dancing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to indicate to Srimati Radharani that he had not forgotten. Thus Lord Jagannath would stop the forward march of the Rath and wait at a standstill. In this way, Lord Jagannath agreed that without the ecstasy of Srimati Radharani, he could not feel satisfied. While Jagannath was thus waiting, Gaura Sundar, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in his ecstasy of Srimati Radharani, immediately came forward to Krishna. At such times, Lord Jagannath would proceed ahead very slowly. These competitive exchanges were all part of the love affair between Krishna and Srimati Radharani. In that competition between Lord Chaitanya's ecstasy for Jagannath and Jagannath's ecstasy for Srimati Radharani, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu emerged successful. Hare Krishna. So I read a long purport. It was not audible? Really? So I'll read again. I'll read again or what? Okay. So we are discussing the other day how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was expressing her mood as Srimati Radharani. So here in this verse, it is very clear that loving exchange between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Jagannath is very vividly explained by Srila Prabhupada by quoting the commentary by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. So when Krishna left Vrindavan, so Vrindavan devotees felt very heartbroken, being separated. One moment of separation is difficult, but now long separation. And Krishna told them that he'll come back. That's why they agreed, because they believed in the words of Krishna. But somehow Krishna did not come back for many years. There are some reasons also. In order to protect the devotees of Vrindavan, in order to protect the devotees of Mathura, Krishna did not want to come back after killing Kamsa. After killing Kamsa, Krishna was about to come back. But the devotees of Mathura said that you have killed Kamsa. It's wonderful. But because of Kamsa, other demoniac kings were under control. But now Kamsa is no more there. So all other demoniac kings will be very powerful. And they will attack Mathura. And if you leave Mathura, then what will happen to us? You kill Kamsa, but the purpose of killing Kamsa will not be achieved. So Krishna thought that this is a right logic. So he wanted to stay back to protect the devotees of Mathura. The question may come, Vrindavan is not far from Mathura. So why the devotees of Vrindavan did not come to Mathura? Krishna didn't want that also, because Krishna wanted to show to the demoniac kings that he has no connection with Vrindavan. If The demoniac kings come to know that Krishna is still connected with Vrindavan, then they will attack Vrindavan. Then what will happen to the devotees of Vrindavan? So because of the protection of the devotees of Vrindavan and also the devotees of Mathura, Krishna did not go back. But what is happening with the gopis? Gopis were thinking, what is the use of this life? Without Krishna, there is no meaning of life. That is the love of the gopis. But they don't want to die also. Why? Because Krishna told that he will come back. And if Krishna comes back and sees that they are not there, so Krishna will be very heartbroken. He will be very unhappy. So then they decided not to die. So without Krishna, they cannot live, they cannot die. What they can do? They can only cry. That is the situation of the gopis of Vrindavan. And that mood was very, very strong in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. While Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in Jagannath Puri, he was experiencing that mood, love of the gopis in separation from Krishna. So Ratha Yatra time, that mood became very strong. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is checking whether Krishna is remembering Vrindavan or not. That's why sometimes Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to come back, used to go back behind the chariot. And what Jagannath used to do is to stop, to indicate, I have not forgotten you. As soon as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to come before him, then again Rath used to start slowly. So that's the verse here. Ei moto gaur same doe thela theli. So pushing, that is the loving push between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Jagannath. নাচিতে নাচিতে প্রভুর হইলা ভাবান্তর হস্ত তুলি শ্লোক পরে করি উচ্ছ্বর. While Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was dancing, his ecstasy changed. Raising his two arms, he began to recite the following verse in a loud voice. Loud, very loud. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was chanting this verse very loudly. Ja Kaumar Haraso eva virasta eva chaitrak chapas. Te চলমিলিত মালতী সুরভয় পৌরা কদম্ব নীলা সা চৈবাস্মি তথাপি তত্র সুরত ব্যাপার লীলা বিধৌ রেবা রোধসী বেতসী তরুতলে চেতঃ সমুৎকণ্ঠতে. It's a very famous verse. It's actually like a love song. Love song. So being a sannyasi, he is singing love song. Very interesting. That very personality who stole my heart during my youth is now again my master. These are the same moonlit nights of the month of Chaitra. The same fragrance of Malati flowers is there. The same sweet breezes are blowing from the Kadamba forest. In our intimate relationship, I am also the same lover, yet still my mind is not happy there, is not happy here. I am eager to go back to that place on the bank of the Reva under the Betosi tree. That is my desire. In a, what you can say, nobody will understand what's going on. In a covered, he's covered incarnation, and that's why he's also covering his cover up incarnation. So he's covering up his own emotions also. that nobody could understand. But he may cover up to the whole world, but he could not cover that thing. Sarup Damodar and Rupa Goswami also understood. It is very much explained. Prabhupada is writing in the following verses where Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has explained this in detail. So it is a mood of Srimati Radharani that Krishna could not come to Vrindavan, but there was a solar eclipse, and that time devotees of Vrindavan, they also went to take a bath, and devotees of Dwarka, they also came to Kurukshetra, and they met, and that is a description. Ratha Yatra is all about that for the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Same mood that the lover and beloved they met, but it's not favorable. It's not, they're not getting the mood. The mood is very important. Everything is there. Hero, heroine, both are there. Surroundings are also there, but they are not experiencing the same mood because that is not Vrindavan. That will be now revealed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. এই শ্লোক মহাপ্রভু পরে বারবার স্বরূপ বিনা অর্থ কেহ না জানে ইহার. This verse was recited by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again and again, not only once, again and again. But for Sarup Damodar, no one could understand its meaning. এই শ্লোকার্থ পূর্বে করিয়াছি ব্যাখ্যান, শ্লোকের ভাবার্থ করি সংক্ষেপে আখ্যান. I have already explained this verse. Now I shall simply describe it in brief. So in this connection, see Madhya Lila, chapter 1, verse number 53, 77 to 80, and 80 to 84. So where Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is explaining how Rupa Goswami could understand. Rupa Goswami came to Jagannath Puri and used to stay with Haridas Thakur. And being in that mood that we are fallen, we are not devotees, so they did not go to Jagannath Puri. They did not go to the temple of Jagannath. They used to stay at Siddha Bakul. And Mahaprabhu used to come every day to the place of Haridas Thakur. That is the power of your devotional service. He did not go to Jagannath, but Jagannath used to come to see him. That's why Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to say, don't try to see Krishna. Serve Krishna in such a way that Krishna will come to see you. So that was happening. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is proving that statement of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada is true. And Rupa Goswami, this verse was spoken by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Rupa Goswami wrote a similar kind of verse, wonderfully, and explaining the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So when Mahaprabhu saw that verse, and he was amazed, surprised, astonished, how could Rupa Goswami know my heart? Nobody knows it. Then Sarup Damodar said, who has received your causeless mercy? How anything can be hidden from him? Say Ishwar Tattva বুঝিবারে পারে ঈশ্বরের কৃপালে হয়েছে যাহারে. Who has received the causeless mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he can only understand Krishna. So how could Rupa Goswami understand the heart of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Because he has received the causeless mercy. Everything was revealed to him. And why? Because Rupa Goswami was a wonderful devotee, exhibiting all the qualities, and especially the quality of humility. And because of that, everything was revealed to him by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. পূর্বে জয়সে কুরুক্ষেত্রে সব গোপীগণ কৃষ্ণের দর্শন পাইয়া আনন্দিত মন. Formerly, all the gopis of Vrindavan were very pleased when they met with Krishna in the holy place, Kurukshetra. জগন্নাথ দেখি প্রভুর সে ভাব উঠিল, সেই ভাবাবিষ্ট হইয়া ধুয়া গাওয়াইল. Similarly, after seeing Lord Jagannath, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu awake with ecstasy of the gopis. Being absorbed in this ecstasy, he asked Swarup Damodar to sing the refrain. So he requested Swarup Damodar to sing. অবশেষে রাধা কৃষ্ণে করে নিবেদন, সেই তুমি সেই আমি সেই নব সঙ্গম. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoke thus to Lord Jagannath, you are the same Krishna, I am the same Radharani. We are meeting again in the same way that we met in the beginning of our lives. তথাপি আমার মন হরে বৃন্দাবন, বৃন্দাবনে উদয় করাও আপন চরণ. Although we are the same, although we are both the same, my mind is still attracted to Vrindavan Dham. I wish that you will please again appear with your lotus feet in Vrindavan. So Srimati Radharani is requesting Krishna to appear in Vrindavan. In the same mood, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also requesting Jagannath to appear in Vrindavan. That's why he is pulling the chariot. ইহা লোকারণ্য হাতি ঘোড়া রথধ্বনি, তাহা পুষ্পারণ্য ভৃঙ্গ পিক নাদ শুনি. In Kurukshetra, there are crowds of people, elephants and horses, and also the rattling of chariots. But in Vrindavan, there are flower gardens. The humming of the bees and the chirping of the birds can be heard. ইহা রাজবের সঙ্গে সব ক্ষত্রিয়গণ, তাহা গোপবের সঙ্গে মুরলী বাদন. Here at Kurukshetra, you are dressed like a royal prince, accompanied by great warriors. But in Vrindavan, you appear just like an ordinary cowherd boy, accompanied only by your beautiful flute. ব্রজে তোমার সঙ্গে যে সুখ সাধন, সেই সুখ সমুদ্রের ইহা নাকি নাহি এখন. Here there is not even a drop of the ocean of transcendental happiness that I enjoyed with you in Vrindavan. আমালইয়া পুনলীলা করহ বৃন্দাবনে, তবে আমার মনোবাঞ্ছা হয়তো পুরাণে. I therefore request you to come to Vrindavan and enjoy pastimes with me. If you do so, my ambition will be fulfilled. ভাগবতে আছে জয়ছে রাধিকা বচন, পূর্বে তাহা সূত্র মধ্যে করিয়াছি বর্ণন. I have already described in brief Srimati Radharani's statement from Srimad Bhagavatam. সেই ভাবাবেশে প্রভু পরে আর শ্লোক, সেই সব শ্লোকের অর্থ নাহি বুঝে লোক. In that ecstatic mood, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recited many other verses, but people in general could not understand their meaning. স্বরূপ গোসাই জানে না কহে অর্থ তার, শ্রীরূপ গোসাই কইল সেই অর্থ প্রচার. The meaning of these verses was known to Swarup Damodar Goswami, but he did not reveal it. However, Sri Rupa Goswami has broadcast the meaning. So this mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was preached all over the world through his writings by Sri Rupa Goswami. স্বরূপ সঙ্গে যার অর্থ করে আস্বাদন, নিত্য মধ্যে সেই শ্লোক করেন পঠন. While dancing, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began to recite the following verse, which he tested in the association of Swarup Damodar Goswami. So daytime, Mahaprabhu used to do his daily duties, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, associating with the devotees, having darshan of Lord Jagannath, taking bath, taking prasadam. But as the day ends and evening night begins, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is to go into different mood, and that time no one was allowed. Only Swarup Damodar and Rai Ramananda were there with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and used to release the confidential mood of Srimati Radharani. Auschat Auschate Nolina Nava Padara Vindam Jogeshwara Hidi Vichinta Magada Bodhai Sangsara Kupa Patittarana Lambam Tarana Balambang Gehong Jusamupi Manusya Diyat Sadana. The gopis spoke thus, Dear Lord, whose navel is just like a lotus flower. Your lotus feet are only the shelter for those who have fallen into the deep well of material existence. Your feet are worshipped and meditated upon by great mystic yogis and highly learned philosophers. We wish that these lotus feet may also be awakened within our hearts, although we are only ordinary persons engaged in household affairs. This is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam. The gopis were never interested in karma yoga, jnana yoga, or dhyana yoga. They are simply interested in bhakti yoga. Unless they are forced, they never like to meditate on the lotus feet of the Lord. Rather, they prefer to take the lotus feet of the Lord and place them on their breasts. Sometimes they regretted that their breasts were so hard, fearing that Krishna might not be very pleased to keep his lotus feet there. When those lotus feet were pricked by the grains of sand in Vrindavan pasturing ground, the gopis were pained and began to cry. The gopis wanted to keep Krishna at home always, and in this way their minds were absorbed in Krishna consciousness. Such pure Krishna consciousness can arise only in Vrindavan. Thus Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began to explain his own mind, which was saturated in the ecstasy of the gopis. So now very interesting verses will come. Mood of Vrindavan, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is exhibiting. অন্যের হৃদয় মন মোর মোর বৃন্দাবন মনে বনে এক করি জানি ইউ ক্যান রিপিট অন্যের হৃদয় মন মোর মোর বৃন্দাবন মনে বনে এক করি জানি তাহা তোমার পদদায় করাহ যদি উদয় তবে তোমার পূর্ণ কৃপা মানি. Speaking in the mood of Srimati Radharani, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, for most people the mind and heart are one. But because my mind is never separated from Vrindavan, I consider my mind and Vrindavan to be one. My mind is already Vrindavan. And since you like Vrindavan, will you please place your lotus feet there? I would deem that your full mercy. The mind's activities are thinking, feeling, and willing, by which the mind accepts materially favorable things and rejects the unfavorable. This is the consciousness of people in general. But when one's mind does not accept and reject, but simply becomes fixed on the lotus feet of Krishna, then one's mind becomes as good as Vrindavan. Wherever Krishna is, there also are Srimati Radharani, the gopis, the cowherd boys, and all the other inhabitants of Vrindavan. Thus, as soon as one fixes Krishna in his mind becomes identical with Vrindavan. In other words, when one's mind is completely free from all material desires and is engaged only in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then one always lives in Vrindavan and nowhere else. So here, very deep philosophical aspect has been revealed. So gopis are telling, Radharani is telling that their mind is Vrindavan. Onnero hridaya mon, mor mon Vrindavan. For conditioned soul, mind is like heart. But for the inhabitants of Vrindavan, especially the gopis and Radharani, their mind is Vrindavan. Why? Because they are always absorbed. Their mind is completely absorbed in the thought of Krishna. Their mind is Krishna conscious. They are always remembering Krishna. They will explain also very nicely. That Uddhava came to teach them that the philosophy of Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, I am not this body, I am the spirit soul, all this thing. But this does not apply to them. The whole purpose of Bhagavad Gita is to remember Krishna, right? That's why all kind of yoga. But they are always remembering Krishna. So is the need of Bhagavad Gita. They need another Gita to forget Krishna. So whatever rules, regulations which are explained in the Shastra does not apply to them because they already attain perfection. And that will be also explained that we don't want to remember Krishna, we want to forget Krishna. Because remembering Krishna is giving them a lot of transcendental pain. So in order to come out from that pain, they want to forget Krishna and putting their mind in material activities. But very difficult for them to do that. For us, very difficult to remember Krishna. Right? And for them, very difficult to forget Krishna. But we like to go to Vrindavan. Our desire is very lofty desire. So for them, forgetting Krishna is very difficult. And for us, remembering Krishna is very difficult. This is the journey. So what to do? That's why the purpose of life, the purpose of Krishna consciousness is to remember Krishna. Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. That is the essence of all rules and regulations. That is the essence of our spiritual life. That is the essence of everything of the Vedas. Always remember Krishna. That is Krishna consciousness. We may do so many things, but if you don't remember Krishna, what is the use? It's spoken in Bengali, one nice verse. Sadhan karo, bhajan karo, morte janle hoy. Means we are doing a lot of sadhan bhajan, means we are doing a lot of activities. But if you don't know how to die, what is the use? At the time of death, nothing is happening. Again, you have to take birth. What is the purpose of spiritual life? Purpose of spiritual life is to know how to die thinking of Krishna. Antakale cha mame bas paranmukta kalevaram japayati samad bhavam jati nastatra asangsaya. Right? The exam of the human form is death. And as long as we are alive, that is the preparation period. And very difficult. Semester, we know how many months we have to prepare. Even after that, we don't prepare. But in our Krishna conscious journey, in this material body, we don't know also how many days we have to prepare. Somebody was asking, why you have to be so focused in this life? There's a question in the program on Sunday. Why we have to be so serious in this life? We can go relaxed. Do something in this life, then next life, then you can continue. Interesting question. But the problem is that what will happen in the next body, we don't know. By great fortune, we become Krishna conscious. In that way, those who are intelligent, they don't take any chance. They want to complete the journey in that body only. So Prabhupada also expected that. That's why you have to prepare very seriously. Those who are serious students, they don't wait for last moment to prepare. They prepare well in advance. That's why we have to prepare ourselves. Remembering Krishna. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Pada Sevanam. The Smaranam part is very, very important part. At the beginning, we have to hear more. More we hear, more we become Krishna conscious. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prem Sadhya Kabunai Shravanadi Suddha Chitte Karha Uday. Hearing. And when you hear very nicely, attentively, with a lot of faith, when you hear attentively, then we develop taste in the transcendental message of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We develop taste in Krishna Katha. Then when we develop taste in Krishna Katha, then we like to speak Kirtanam. Shravanam leads to Kirtanam. Then when we do wonderful Shravanam Kirtan, then slowly, slowly, the remembrance of Krishna will manifest in our consciousness. And when it will become constant remembrance, that is called Samadhi. When we are in Samadhi, then we attain perfection. Then when we leave our body, we will be transported to the spiritual world. So that's why you need sadhana bhakti. But gopis, they didn't need sadhana bhakti. They don't need any sadhana bhakti because they are already siddhya, perfected. So that is a point which is explained in this verse. So those who are thinking of Krishna, their mind is Vrindavan. প্রাণনাথ সুনমোর সত্য নিবেদন ব্রজ আমার সদন তাহা তোমার সঙ্গম না পাইলে না রহে জীবন. My dear Lord, kindly hear my true submission. My home is Vrindavan. So Radharani is telling, my heart is Vrindavan, my mind is Vrindavan, my home is also Vrindavan. And I wish your association there, but if I do not get it, then it will be very difficult for me to keep my life. Only when the mind is free from the designations can desire the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As long as we have upadhis, there are how many upadhis? Huh? Unlimited. You got the formula already. So many varieties of designations. So who has this concept of material designation? He cannot desire for the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because desire depends on your designation. So desire is connected. When you have material designations, we will have material desires. And when you have a transcendental designation, Jivere Swarupa Krishna Nitya Das, then we will hanker for Krishna association. So only when the mind is free from designations can one desire the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The mind must have some occupation. If a person is to be free of material things, his mind cannot be vacant. There must be subject matters for thinking, feeling, and willing. Unless one's mind is filled with the thoughts of Krishna, feelings for Krishna, and a desire to serve Krishna, the mind will be filled with material activities. Those who have given up all material activities and have ceased thinking of them should always retain the ambition to think of Krishna. Without Krishna, one cannot live. Just a person cannot live without some enjoyment for his mind. Okay. পূর্বে উদ্ধব দ্বারে এবে সাক্ষাৎ আমারে যোগ জ্ঞানে কহিলা উপায় তুমি বিদগ্ধ কৃপাময় জানো আমার হৃদয় মোর হইছে কহিতে না জুজায়. My dear Krishna, formerly, when you were staying in Mathura, you sent Uddhava to teach me speculative knowledge and mystic yoga. Now, you yourself are speaking the same thing, but my mind does not accept it. There is no place in my mind for Jnana Yoga or Dhyana Yoga. Although you know me very well, You are still instructing me in Jnana Yoga and Dhyana Yoga. It is not right for you to do so. So Radharani is telling Krishna, don't give Gyan. The process of mystic yoga, the speculative method for searching out the supreme absolute truth, does not appeal to one who is always absorbed in the thought of Krishna. A devotee is not at all interested in speculative activities. Instead of cultivating speculative knowledge and practicing mystic yoga, a devotee should worship the deity in the temple and continuously engage in the Lord's service. Temple deity worship is realized by the devotees to be the same as direct service to the Lord. The deity is known as the Archa Vigraha or Archa Avatar, an incarnation of the Supreme Lord in the form of a material manifestation, brass, stone, or wood. Ultimately, there is no difference between Krishna manifest in matter or Krishna manifest in spirit, because his both are his energies. For Krishna, there is no distinction between matter and spirit. His manifestation in material form, therefore, is as good as his original form, Satchidananda Vigraha. A devotee constantly engaged in deity worship according to the rules and regulations laid down in Shastra and given by the spiritual master realizes gradually that he is in direct contact with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, he loses all interest in so-called meditation, yoga practice, and mental speculation. So, here, Srila Prabhupada is writing that serving the deities is like serving Krishna in Vrindavan. But it needs higher level of consciousness. So I heard that after achieving perfection, devotees cannot go to Golok Vrindavan directly. They have to go to Bhoma Vrindavan and get training under Nitya Siddhas. And when training period is over, apprentice, in company also they do like that. So when after training is over, when the Nitya Siddha devotees tell Krishna, okay, training is over, then he is allowed to enter into Golok Vrindavan. But that training can happen in the form of deity worship also. And those who are perfected in deity worship, they don't need to go to Bhoma Vrindavan. They can go directly to Goloka Vrindavan. So attractive. So you have to understand the merciful nature of Krishna. Just like when Krishna appeared in the Upper Yuga, everybody could see. It's called manifest first time. Then Krishna disappeared. But also he appeared in deity form. Anybody can see. Whether someone is a materialistic person, someone is a spiritualist, yogi, jnani, anybody, bhakta, everybody can see. But their seeing will be different. But everybody can see the form. When Mahaprabhu sees Jagannath, he does not see Jagannath, he sees Sam Sundar Bhagavan in Vrindavan with flute. We don't see flute. It depends on our level. As you surrender unto me, I reward you accordingly. In the same way, depending on our surrender, Krishna reveals to us. চিত্তকারিতমা হইতে বিষয়ে চাহি লাগাইতে যত্ন যত্ন করি নারী নারী কারিবারে তারে ধ্যান তারে তারে ধ্যান শিক্ষা করা হো লোক হাসাই আমারো স্থান না করো বিচারে Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, I would like to withdraw my consciousness from you and engage it in material activities. But even though I try, I cannot do so. I am naturally inclined to you only. Your instructions for me to meditate on you are therefore simply ludicrous. In this way, you are killing me. It is not very good for you to think of me as a candidate for your instructions. Okay. Srila Rupa Goswami says in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Anna Bhilasita Sunyam Jnana Karmadi Anavritam Anukullana Krishna Anusilanam Bhakti Uttama. For a pure devotee, there is no scope for indulgence in mystic yoga practice or the cultivation of speculative philosophy. It is indeed impossible for a pure devotee to change his mind in such unwanted activities. Even if a pure devotee wanted to, his mind would not allow him to do so. That is a characteristic of a pure devotee. He is transcendental to all fruitive activities, speculative philosophy, and mystic yoga meditation. The gopis therefore express themselves as follows. Time is not there. Now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is expressing the mood of the gopis and Radharani. It continues like that, and more detailed discussions are there. Then we can go to the end. A long chapter. We should complete before Ratha Yatra, because after this chapter also there is another chapter. One is pre-Ratha Yatra, Ratha Yatra, post-Ratha Yatra. The pre-Ratha Yatra is Gundicha Marjanam, Ratha Yatra, then post-Ratha Yatra. What happened after Ratha Yatra was over? So you have to read all three. We could only finish the Ratha Yatra time to some extent. So what happens if you read this chapter? So let's read that. Text number 208. ইহা যে শুনে সেই শ্রী চৈতন্য পায় সুদৃঢ় বিশ্বাস সহ প্রেম ভক্তি হয়. Anyone who hears this description of the car festival will attain Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He will also attain the elevated state by which he will have firm conviction in devotional service and love of Godhead. Sri Rupa Raghunath Padejar As Chaitanya Charitamrita Kahe Krishna Das, praying at the lotus feet of Sri Rup and Sri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishna Das, narrate Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, following in their footsteps. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, 13th chapter, describing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's ecstatic dancing at Lord Jagannath's car festival. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Rath Yatra Mahotsav ki jai, Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Jagannath Swami ki jai, Gaur Premanande. Yes, tomorrow I cannot take because I am going. Tomorrow morning I am leaving for Tirupati Dham. Hare Krishna. Questions, comments? I used to read this chapter regularly in 2004, 5, 6, that time. Then I did not read Rath Yatra time. So after a long time, I read this. So I felt very nice. We used to read very intensely Rath Yatra time in Mayapur Dham, this chapter. Okay.
Prabhupada is addressing, everywhere I see it is mentioned addressing as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but in one place 119, Prabhupada is saying Gaur Sundar Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So is there any specific reason Prabhupada is addressing as Gaur Sundar?
Because he's Gaur Sundar.
But in all places only Chaitanya Mahaprabhu same.
Radharani is Gaura. That's why is Gaur Sundar.
And Prabhuji, in another place, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling to Jagannath, uh, I'll read. We are meeting again in the same way that we met in the beginning of our lives. But for Lord, beginning, I'm not able to understand because.
Beginning means when they are in Vrindavan, that was the beginning days, early days, childhood days.
Okay.
Why? It's very simple thing to understand.
No, I was thinking beginning of life, so.
That Krishna began his life in Vrindavan, not in Kurukshetra.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes.
He had his love affair not in Kurukshetra. He has his love affair in Vrindavan. Early childhood love affair. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Nice class. Uh, like in Jagannath Puri, when this Rath Yatra is happening, it is very clear. No, Dwarka to Vrindavan, Lord Chaitanya is taking Krishna or Gopi Sati and Krishna to Vrindavan, like that. That's the mood. Now, two questions. One is, before Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, Rath Yatra was still going on. So the devotees were doing it the same mood, or was it different? And
We don't know because what mood devotees had not explained. Definitely there will be devotees who know this mood. But Chaitanya Prabhu made it public. But that mood was very, very rare, Vrindavan mood. That was brought to this world by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his followers, more by Rupa Goswami.
and second question is like, now we do Rath Yatra in city. We start from some point, end at some point, and we do kirtan and all. So
Huh?
we do kirtan, distribute prasadam,
Yeah.
and take Jagannath out in
Yeah.
the city. What? Now here there is. We should also consider that starting point Dwarka, ending point Vrindavan, or
That's why
how is it?
Ratha Yatra without Gundicha festival is not complete. In Bengal, Orissa, they have 9 days festival everywhere. They take Ratha Yatra out of the temple and go to the Gundicha temple. The temple becomes a place where Jagannath stays for 9 days and every day there is program. That is complete Ratha Yatra. Otherwise, one day Ratha Yatra is also wonderful, but that is not complete Ratha Yatra. Okay?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. Thank you for last more than 10 days. Wonderful nectar for all of us and your very divine association. Thank you for.
ऐसे तो बताया गया है रथे तो वामनं दृष्टा पुनर्जन्म न विद्यते खींचना क्या है दर्शन करने से भगवत धाम और जो खींचेगा उसका तो और भी ज्यादा मिलेगा हम लोग तो भगवत धाम जाने के लिए खींचते नहीं हम लोग भगवान को वृंदावन ले जाने के लिए खींचते हैं ऐसे महाप्रभु का भाव है कि नहीं उनको भगवत धाम जाने का क्या जरूरत है तो भगवत धाम में ही है शुद्ध भक्त है कि नहीं भगवत धाम जाना है किसको जाना है जो अभी तक गया नहीं और जो भगवत धाम में है उनको भगवत धाम जाने का क्या है तो भगवत धाम में ही है इसीलिए बता रहे हैं ना चैतन्य महाप्रभु कर्म योगा ज्ञान योगा क्या ये सब फालतू बात कर रहे हैं उसका तो उद्देश्य क्या है आपको चिंतन करना हम लोग तो हर वक्त आपको चिंतन करता हूँ हम लोग हमारा तो मन वृंदावन है तो हमारे लिए कुरुक्षेत्र का भगवत गीता का ज्ञान क्या क्या जरूरत है कुछ जरूरत नहीं और किसी को दीजिएगा लेकिन नहीं इसलिए हम लोगों को जानना चाहिए उनका स्थिति क्या है। बहुत उच्च कोटि की स्थिति है श्रीमती राधा रानी की, चैतन्य महाप्रभु की, क्योंकि वो लोग प्रेम भक्ति के स्तर में है और गोलोक वृंदावन का जो भक्त का जो भाव उस स्तर में है। वो साधक नहीं है, वो तो चैतन्य में तो भगवान है, लेकिन वो शुद्ध भक्त श्रीमती राधा रानी के भाव में ये सब लीला कर रहे हैं।
Question on Zoom.
Zoom.
Malini Sundari Mataji is asking,
हाँ.
thank you for the wonderful series of classes. Ye yathama prapadyante. Does Krishna reciprocate with our sincere intention or our quality of sadhana?
Yeah.
Does Krishna reciprocate with our sincere intention or our quality of sadhana? That's the question.
Quality of sadhana depends on your sincerity. Someone who is more sincere, they will have more quality sadhana. Those who are less sincere, they have less quality sadhana. Disconnected, how you can disconnect? Quality of sadhana depends on the sincerity. Right? And Krishna reciprocates accordingly. Krishna reciprocates according to your surrender. Saranagati. Not sadhana. Sadhana can be mechanical also. Then Krishna will have mechanical response. If you have sincere sadhana, then Krishna will have sincere response. And if you have loving sadhana, then you will have loving response. Depends on our level. Krishna will reciprocate. Okay.
Many devotees are telling, thank you for your holy association.
Is holy or
Thank you
not,
for
I don't
your-
know, but we spoke about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that is very auspicious.
We had wonderful time with you in Chaitanya Charitamrita lectures. Looking forward to see you again. Dandat pranams.
Thank you for your wonderful comments. Delighted. And hope we'll discuss again Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Krishna,
Yes.
Prabhu, we as sadhakas, devotees.
You're sadhaka? Really?
Yeah.
Oh, very good. Surprised to hear that.
Devotees. So when we also visit Jagannath Puri, but we never get a chance to go and pull the rath, or not even touch. Maybe we can see that. But there are other karmis, other devotees, come from different side, different background. So they go, they pull the rath also, and they also claim that we are going to Vaikuntha, we are going to spiritual world. So how do we understand what is the thing? I mean, we have to really have that kind of a facility, or it is just that because of the sadhana we are.
By sadhana also, you cannot come back to Godhead. By touching the chariot also, you cannot come back to Godhead. Only by developing love of Godhead, you can come back to Godhead.
Very well. by developing love of God.
So when you pull the chariot, when you do sadhana, you get the opportunity to develop love of Godhead. If you use the opportunity, that's very wonderful. If you don't use the opportunity, that's your misfortune. Okay.
Yeah, I will. Thanks, bro.
Hare
So
Krishna.
it was wonderful discussing about Chaitanya Charitamrita. Actually, we generally don't have those classes here in our
I
temple.
thought it's a good moment.
Yeah.
Yatra, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Correct.
So better to take the opportunity and discuss from Chaitanya Charitamrita.
So we are relishing
But
every
once
day.
in a, you should have some days Chaitanya Charitamrita is good.
Correct.
In some temples, weekends they do Chaitanya Charitamrita, 5 days Bhagavatam, but Chaitanya Charitamrita reading has to start in ISKCON very, what I can say, regularly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, bro. It was nectarian, and with your comments and your way of expressing also, it gives a lot of enlightenment. And you are coming from the same background there, Gaudiya Sampradaya. So your explanation was much more intense, and we are really greatly benefited by your association.
Whatever I read, whatever I heard for many years, we just try to share.
Very well. Thanks, bro.
So we'll end here. I think there is no more comment.
We had nice association and heard nectarian pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Thank you very much. Ashokatma Vasudev Das.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for your wonderful association. Long 10 days, more than 10 days. You stayed here and
Good weather. Spiritual weather and material weather, both are good. I am also very happy that I could spend some time here. Hopefully again.
I hope we could serve you nicely and forgive us for any inconvenience which might have happened here in your stay. And we look forward to your association again in the future. So let's express our gratitude to His Grace Sankarshan by chanting once Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Bhaktavinda ki jai, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. Sankarshan Nitai Prabhu ki jai.
Hare Krishna. Nitai ki jai. Lakshmi Narasimha Bhagavan ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna devotees, we are ending meeting now. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam. Thank you all. See you tomorrow again. Nityam Bhagavad Sevaya.